The Penguins and Golden Knights show their resiliency. Welcome to NHL Wraparound Stanley Cupdate for Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. Morren and Smith joining you. Two critical games being played on Monday evening. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, for the second consecutive game, stave off elimination. They are now down only 3-2 against the Flyers with a 3-2 win in that game number 5.
Yeah, and wasn't getting the first goal so important in this game, as we've seen in so many playoffs this year and in other years, that if you get that lead, it's much, much better for you than trying to play from behind. However, I do know that we're going to get to a game that's going to make my comments look foolish in a minute. But in the Pittsburgh game, getting that lead really helped them.
Of note in this game, Rick Tocchet makes a change, scratches Matvei Michkov, and Alex Bump moves in. So, in theory, Michkov got bumped.
He did, by Alex Bump, who played at Western Michigan University.
Don't you love the way I just put that up on a tee for you?
Yeah, I do, but I don't think you did that. I'm not even sure you knew that Alex Bump played at WMU.
Send your cards and letters. Before this game was done, Bump would have an impact, but I like the way the Flyers actually started this game. They had the first 3 shots on goal, the first 8 attempts, but Anthony Mantha, who's been quiet in the series, he outmuscles Rasmus Ristolainen behind the net and feeds Elmer Soderblom out front at 2:45. Mantha's first point of the series, and that key first goal that we had spoken about, particularly as it pertained to this game. And the Penguins are playing ahead.
It was a beautiful feed by Anthony Mantha. I'm not sure that it was intended at first for Soderblom, because there was another Penguin in the lower slot. Soderblom was in the extreme high slot, and it was a bomb that he put into the net.
Soon after that was Trevor Zegras in alone on Artur Silov's butt. Fans on the shot. Overall, I still thought the Flyers had the better of play. They had 30 attempts in the first period. But at the 3:17 mark of the second, Owen Tippett tried to make a backhanded flip out of the zone intended for Zegras. Sidney Crosby gloves it down, gets it to Connor Dewar, and high blocker on Dan Vladar makes it 2-0, and now the Penguins playing with a multi-goal lead.
Right, and at that point, for a few seconds anyways, it looked like a commanding lead.
A dozen seconds later, as you mentioned, it's Alex Bump from
Western Michigan University.
Strong move to the net, and he makes it 2-1. But after this goal, I still like the way the Penguins were playing in this game. They were strong defensively, weren't giving the Flyers all that much, but they got a scare. About 7 minutes left in the second period when Crosby got hit by some friendly fire from teammate Ryan Shea, took a shot off the knee, but he only missed one shift. But in that shift, strong forecheck work by the Flyers, and it's Travis Sanheim from a shot along the left boards that goes off Erik Karlsson's stick, and this game is even.
And this is a goal that Shilovs couldn't have had. There is no way. It goes off of his own defenseman and goes in the short side. I just want to mention that on the Bump goal, the first goal that the Flyers scored was a bad goal that Shilovs let in. He's been great in the games he's played, but that would be one he'd want to have back. The second one that got scored on him, the Sanheim shot, there's no way he would stop that when it went in off of Karlsson's stick.
So much of what playoff hockey is about is bounces and weird caroms. And what turned out to be the game-winning goal came 2 minutes later. Chris Letang took a shot that kind of hit the lip of the backboards, carom back, hit Vladar on both legs, and kind of just landed right over the goal line.
It was one of the weirdest goals you're going to see. If you haven't seen it, go to the internet. Bring it up on YouTube or on NHL.com. You're not going to see a goal like this. You see goals that hit the glass and that come over the net, hit the goalie in the back and go in. But this one, as you said, hit the lip of the boards, came straight back out, hit him in the calf on one leg, hit him in the calf on the other leg, and then just flipped over the goal line and sat there.
I really liked the third period by the Penguins. And in fact, even though they were outshot 6-4, I thought they had the better of the opportunities. Vladar had to come up big, stopping Brian Rust, Rickard Rakell, and Ben Kindle. And the best chances for the Flyers was a shot from the slot with about 8.5 left. And Travis Konechny just missed the net. And then Porter Martone in the final minute of regulation, Silovs made a nice save there. Sidney Crosby had 2 shots at the empty net, couldn't score on either of them, but he was really impactful in this game in all facets. He had 2 assists. He took key faceoffs at the end and kind of looking like the Sidney Crosby that we're always used to.
I was just going to say, he's impactful in every game he plays. So this comes as no surprise. But it's a huge win for the Penguins, obviously, because they stay alive. They moved the series to 3-2. It's their second win in a row. And now they got the Flyers going back to Philadelphia, worried that if they don't win game 6, oh my God, we could blow the series.
If you're talking now and you see how well Bump played in this game, do you keep him in the lineup, or is the one game scratch of Michkov just something that, okay, here's your lesson, get back in the lineup and do the things that we need to do to win?
You know what? That's a question only Tocchet can answer. If it was me and I saw the way Alex Bump played, and again, I don't know why he took Michkov out. Was it a personal thing? What is it? I heard that Michkov was, very happy looking at practice in the morning, joking with his teammates, not disgruntled, not pissed. So only Tocchet knows what to do in this. But the way Alex Bump played, it's hard to take him back out of the lineup.
In all of your years, have you come across a player similar to this? And I think when we see players who you question their work ethic, or you question their behavior, or you question how they are either on or off the ice, more of them seem to be Europeans. And that's understandable because of the language barrier. It's a culture change. And have you come across a player like that in your career?
Well, quite often when we first started bringing Russians in, there were Russian players that were difficult to deal with. They came from a whole different type of society in Russia where there was very little freedom, and they're put into this completely free society that we have. And so that meant the personality was sometimes difficult. And if I had to compare Michkov from what I've seen of him on TV to anybody that I ever had, it would be Alex Kovalev. But Kovalev was not a difficult personality. He was just a difficult hockey player to get him to do and play the way you wanted him to play. But certainly his personality was not difficult at all.
Before we leave this game, I got one more for you. And I think this is coming under the radar a little bit, and certainly the Penguins have a lot of work to do before they would pull off this 0-3 comeback. But if you remember, 51 years ago, you'd already been drafted by the New York Islanders, by the way, year before. And they made the second of the 4 0-3 comebacks to win a playoff series, coming back against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Billy Smith lost the first 3 games in goal for the Islanders. And Chico Resch came in to win the last 4. And what we saw here was Stu Skinner losing the first 3 for the Penguins, and Artur Silovs coming in to win the last 2. So perhaps the Penguins, over a half century later, have the possibility of turning the tables here.
They really do, but it isn't at all the way that I've seen other 0-3 series comebacks. Usually those 0-3 deficits have been razor close, and the games could have gone either way, but it just happened 3 times in a row they went the one way for one team. So then the other team knows they have a chance. I wouldn't say that happened in this series. I don't think that the first 3 games could have gone either way. I think Philadelphia deserved all 3 wins. But Pittsburgh suddenly now has got their mojo going, and it's going to be tough. I mean, when you get veterans in the locker room like Crosby and Malkin and Letang and Carlson, who can settle down the younger guys and say, hey, we're coming back. And now everybody's on the Shilovs train in that locker room. It's going to be a very interesting and difficult game in Philadelphia.
I will remind our listeners that we both picked Pittsburgh in that fifth game. And the point with Resch and Billy Smith, just to give a little bit of historical perspective before anybody else jumps onto that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Game 6 of this series, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT. The later game was a beauty. I got to tell you something. This series, and I know that I made a comment on Monday about how much I'm loving the Montreal-Tampa series and certainly the heavyweight battle between Dallas and Minnesota. This Vegas-Utah series is really coming in under the radar because this has been a beauty also.
It has, and it's a young team that has growing pains, obviously, in their lineup, but they made the playoffs against a very difficult team to figure out, which is the Vegas Golden Knights. They've got some flaws in their lineup. They're a veteran team, but you're not sure what you're going to get from one night to the next. And that actually showed up right within this hockey game.
The one thing I will say about Utah is they still do have 5 players that have Stanley Cup rings. So it's not like they don't have a little bit of championship pedigree there. But I agree with you that the core of this team is a lot of young players. And we saw in Game 3, they were dominated for the most part by the Golden Knights. They got the big lead, and Vegas just ran out of racetrack at the end of the game. But in Game 4, another quick start for the Golden Knights. Good board work by Jack Eichel, gets the puck to Ivan Barbashev, and then it's a slam dunk for Pavel Dorofeev just 72 seconds in. And he was demoted to the 4th line in Game 3 by John Tortorella.
Because he's trying to get Dorofeev going. He knows how important he can be. And bang, quickly, he puts the puck in the net.
Michael Carcone had a great chance to tie this game on the first power play of the night for the Mammoth, but he missed an open net. And then late in the first period, it's a shorthanded goal by Brett Howden. Karol Vejmelka and J.J. Peterka, somewhat of a sloppy change, and it's Mitch Marner with the setup, and it's 2-0 for Vegas.
Yes, and you think Vegas is going to run away with this one. It certainly looked that way because, you know, you're thinking, okay, Marner's on his game, Eichel's on his game, and here we go.
I think we had every reason to think that this was going to continue because the Golden Knights had an 8-3 shot edge in the first period, and this comes off a huge shot discrepancy, not only in shots on goal, but attempts and zone time. And this continued now for a 4th period. And at the start of the second period, at 3:26, it's Cole Smith redirecting in a Noah Hannafin shot. Beautiful deflection. And it's 3-0. And you're thinking, hey, this thing's over. It's going back even.
Well, for sure you do. I mean, how could you not? It's 3-0 for Vegas. They're in Utah. The building is absolutely quiet because they're down 3-0. But things aren't always as they appear.
But the funny thing is we see so often games turn on events that appear innocuous at the time. And after it was 3-0, the Mammoth had to kill off a penalty. And once that kill took place, they started to pick their game up. They got some chances. I think the Golden Knights started to run around in their own end. And then within 29 seconds, it's Nick Schmaltz and Ian Cole scoring before the midway part of the second. And now it's 3-2.
Just like that. Bang, bang, and the building is electric, and the Mammoth are only behind by 1 goal.
That lead held up into the third period, but just $1:45 in, Barbashev tried to swat a puck out of the slot. Dylan Guenther eventually gets the puck, and Carcone, who had missed that open net earlier, a one-timer from the right wing circle, off wing. I thought that this shot was one that Carter Hart should have had short side, but now it's tied at 3, and that Delta Center is going BS.
Yeah, they're rocking. They're rocking. They suddenly have seen a comeback, and there's nothing like seeing your team come back at home. I mean, it is a euphoric feeling when you see something like this. They were down 3-0, and now we're tied at 3.
And just over 5 minutes into the period, it's Clayton Keller gloving down a deflective pass from Schmaltz. He centers it, and it caroms off Shea Theodore and behind Carter Hart, and somehow the Mammoth are ahead in this game.
And we repeat again, the building is exploding. In fact, to the point where the color commentator said that he actually felt it shaking underneath him and was wondering whether Steve Levy felt the same thing upstairs.
Well, that was TJ Oshie, and I think he made a really good point. After Utah went ahead, sometimes you put so much energy in, and instead of trying to go for that fifth goal to get the insurance marker, human nature is now you try to protect the lead. I think they got a little bit conservative. I agree with Oshie 100%. And it was Howden's second goal of the game, tipping down a Hannafin shot at just past the midway point, and we're tied at 4-4. Once this game got to overtime, Vermelka had to come up big during Vegas power play, and I thought for the most part, Vegas did have the edge in play, even though the shots were 9-8, actually in favor of the Mammoth. I thought Vegas was clearly the better team midway through the overtime. Golden Knights thought they had the game winner coming off the stick of Pavel Dorofeev from right in front of the net, but that goal was wiped out. Jack Eichel, a step ahead offside. When I saw it in real time, something looked a little bit off. And I think even the Golden Knights probably knew that this play was coming back.
I hate the offside replay rule. I hate it with all my being. You know, everybody's celebrating, and now you say, wait. The guy upstairs thinks he's caught you being offside, so let's go back and look at it. The players don't get to see it. They're just sort of sitting there waiting, and suddenly they say, nope, no goal, it was offside.
Well, what did you think when you first saw it? I mean, there's a certain optic that plays that are offside, even if it's just by a teeny bit. There's an optic that tells you whether or not it was onside or offside.
Well, when you've seen thousands of these things, yeah, you get a feeling that could maybe be offside. I see it 10 times a game, all the time, but they don't end up in goals, so you don't find out if you're right or not. Same on this one. Again, that doesn't mean I don't hate the rule. I hate the rule. I think they should have left video review just with whether the puck is in the net or not offside.
The Golden Knights kept coming, and with 52 seconds left in overtime, it's Theodore taking a backhand pass from behind the net from Jack Eichel. This was a play that got a little bit scrambly. Karel Vejmelka lost his stick after the initial attempt by Eichel, and Theodore kind of atoning for the go-ahead goal by Keller that went in off him. He now becomes the hero. This series, going back to Vegas, tied at 2, and frankly, I'm pleased because I want to see more of this series. Maybe it's coming in under the radar a little bit. Maybe this is because these are two of the last 3 expansion teams in the NHL, but this has just been excellent hockey to watch.
It sure has, and it goes, as you said, goes back to Vegas, where 2 out of the next 3 will be played. It's just a very short series, and we'll find out. Do the young upstarts, being the Utah Mammoth, are they able to win a game in Vegas, or is it the more veteran team that made the late season coaching change? Is it them that's going to advance? The former Stanley Cup winners, by the way, the Vegas Golden Knights. It's going to be really a lot of fun to see those 2 to 3 games and find out who comes out of this thing to survive.
Game 5, Wednesday at 10 o'clock on TNT. And before we move to the Tuesday schedule, there's one player that's kind of standing out for me for Utah, and it's not for the right reasons. And I think that this guy needs to get on the board offensively and add to some of that scoring prowess that the Mammoth already have. And that's J.J. Peterka. He's pointless in the first 4 games of this series, had trouble handling Vejmelka's pass up the left wing boards, and that led to the second Vegas goal in the game. And I just think that you need to get more from this guy.
I think he's like a broken pencil. He's pointless in this series.
You got anything better?
That was a really good trade that Utah made by getting Peterka. I thought it was a wonderful trade. Josh Doan has done wonders for Buffalo. He really has, and I didn't see that coming either. But you're right. J.J. Peterka has to add more and stop being the broken pencil.
You know, for a second, I thought you were going to really dig yourself out of that grandpa joke, and just no good. All right, Tuesday's schedule, 3 games, Boston at Buffalo, Game 5, Sabres lead 3-1. They're going to try to put this thing away on TNT. So given that not only did we pick the Pittsburgh-Philly game correctly, we both picked Vegas to win. So we're almost authorities here. So I'm going to throw this to you. Do the Sabres close this out?
I think they do. I do. My heart might say that I'd like to see the series go longer, but I do think that the Sabres will win this tonight. After seeing the way Boston played in Game 4, it's hard to believe that they could possibly win in Buffalo.
2 things here, though. First of all, Boston cannot possibly be as bad as they were on Sunday. And now, granted, this is a very low bar here. But Buffalo has not started particularly well at home in games 1 and 2 of this series. So I don't think that this is as much of a slam dunk as it may appear. But I do believe that the Sabres have the scent. I believe they're the better team. And I think they're going to close this series out.
So we both agree then that the Sabres are going to cut right through the Bruins.
Boy, can't wait for this next game. Minnesota and Dallas play their 5th game with that series tied at 2 apiece. That's at 8 o'clock on ESPN2. One injury note that we do have is Nils Lundqvist, who suffered that scary facial laceration. He got the skate of Michael McCarron kind of in the upper cheek area in game number 4. He will not play. We're still waiting to hear who his replacement will be. But surprisingly, and I think you had Lundqvist scheduled for plastic surgery. He never even went to the hospital.
Yeah, which was really odd. I mean, I guess they stitched him up there and he didn't need to go. Going back just for a second to that Sabres game, just to give an update, Josh Norris is on the ice for practice this morning. So that is good news for the Buffalo Sabres.
Live, local, late breaking. Here we go. You want to make a pick on this 5th game?
Yeah, I say the Dallas Stars will probably go wild at home and beat Minnesota.
You know, there's a bunch of people listening to this that are just saying, bump.
Who are you picking? Who are you picking, by the way? Minnesota, Dallas.
I'm picking Dallas. I have them in 7 in this series.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a homer series the rest of the way.
So we're in agreement on this one as well.
Which is frightening in and of itself. Last game of the night, 10 o'clock Eastern on TNT. The Anaheim Ducks try to close out the Edmonton Oilers. Anaheim with this 3-1 lead after taking both games at the Honda Center. I have a hard time thinking the Oilers are going down in 5. And it's not because they have played that well in this series. I don't think Anaheim has played well enough to finish this series in 5.
I think that the Oilers will make the Ducks quack up in this one, and Edmonton will win.
You know, we're losing listeners here. You're killing us.
So who have you got?
I stay away from it. I leave all of the bad jokes to you. I just said, I don't think that Anaheim has played well enough in this series that they're going to close it out. And I do believe that the Oilers, the pride, the fact that they went back-to-back to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think there's something to be said.
So we're in agreement. Again, 3 times in a row.
Look, if they all come in, nobody's going to question it.
Well, we know that if Anaheim quacks up in this game, that no one will question it.
I have to shut your mic down now. And remind everybody to reach us individually at neil@nhlwraparound.com or vic@nhlwraparound.com. Please, if you're writing to Neil, give him some different material to start working with.
Oh, I've got a million duck jokes.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. We are also on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. leave a review or subscribe. We will continue to run different types of polls now that we're coming towards the end of the first round. So check those out. Weigh in with your opinion. You can also find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, at rayd8.tv, and Buzzer, that's BZZR.com. Our website is NHLWraparound.com, and we will drop another spring cleaning later Tuesday. That will be the Winnipeg Jets, and by the end of the week, we'll have the San Jose Sharks as well, and then coming behind that, the Ottawa Senators, LA Kings, and whoever gets eliminated in the first round. So, on behalf of Neil, I'm Vic. Look forward to speaking with you again on Wednesday.